A few wild ideas started chasing themselves around in my brain. Ideas that began to fall into a crazy pattern. Item 30-1260, long-distance phone call to the home office of Universal Adjustment in Hartford. I asked Pat McCracken to run an errand for me. 3 hours later, he called back from New York City with the answer. Yep. I'd come all the way to Barbados, but the case got solved in New York. I phoned Lola and Everson and asked them to come to the cemetery. 15 minutes later, we met at the freshly turned grave.
Mr. Dollar, I must say you're not being considerate of Lola. I'm sure you realize that coming back to Tom's grave here is a most painful experience for her.
I'm sure you had a good reason, Johnny.
Yeah, I did. I wanted both of you to know what a jerk I've been in this investigation.
Oh, don't say that. You've done everything that could be done, and I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Lola. But you see, for almost 2 weeks now, from New York to New Orleans to Barbados here, I've been chasing a dead man.
What?
I don't understand.
I think you understand real well.
Now, look here. If this is some kind of a joke, it's in very poor taste.
It's no joke. I've got to hand it to you both, though. You engineered the whole deal with just 2 people.
What are you talking about?
Drop the act, Lola. The faithful, grieving wife. You had me fooled but good.
Look, Dollar.
You told me you took a trip alone about the time Tom was arrested, Lola. Well, that was true. But it wasn't to Martha's Vineyard. You went down to New Orleans and rented a room under the name of Tom James. You were the other woman I was looking for.
That's a lie.
You don't know what you're saying, Dollar.
Don't I? Freddie Quintana in New Orleans showed me a letter Chase was supposed to have written. It matched the sample of Chase's writing you'd given me in New York, Everson.
Well, of course it did. That proves it.
It proves that the sample you gave me in New York wasn't Chase's writing. I just checked by long-distance phone.
You what?
Oh, yes. Freddie Quintana played his part real well. But what he didn't know was he was going to get paid off with a bullet. That was the day you turned up in New Orleans, Lola. To kill him and shut his mouth.
Dollar.
Let him finish, George.
Oh, there's not much more. You hired the second guy to pose as your husband and lead me a merry chase. That explains why he didn't kill me and why I was always able to pick up his trail again. I was supposed to. That's the way you were playing it. And all the time, the real Tom Chase was dead. You probably killed him back in New York when he was supposed to have jumped bail and disappeared.
Are you through, Dollar?
Almost. Except for the money. You are the embezzler, Everson. It was you who juggled the accounts. And after I ran into a dead end down here with a fake Chase's death, you and Lola could live happily ever afterward with the dough.
Go on.
Of course, the fellow you hired to pose as Chase didn't realize he was going to get paid off the same way Quintana was.
What are you talking about?
The way you helped him over that cliff, Everson, to make it look like suicide.
How did you know?
I probably wouldn't have tumbled to it if I hadn't checked his handwriting.
Of course, you can't prove any of this.
Like to exhume the body, ship it back to New York, and prove that it isn't the real Tom Chase?
The body stays where it is, Dollar.
Oh, put that gun down, Everson. They already know most of the story in New York.
You're bluffing.
Then why don't you call the bluff and find out?
I think he's telling the truth, George.
In that case,
Yes. We'd better take care of him.
not we, Lola. Not anymore.
What do you mean?
I think we'd better just dissolve the partnership.
Don't try anything like that, George. This was our idea together, and you're in it as deep as I am.
And that's why I'm leaving, Lola. I wish it had worked out. But as long as it didn't...
You can't do that. You've got the money.
Exactly.
I won't let you.
Get back, Lola. We both went for Everson at the same moment. The shot spun her around and crumpled her. I grabbed the gun from Everson. I'm afraid it's not serious, Lola. If his aim had been better, he'd have done you a favor.
Johnny.
One thing I still don't get. Your husband wouldn't make any statement after his arrest. That means to me he knew what you were up to. And he loved you so much he was willing to take the rap. Tell me this, Lola. Why did you marry the poor guy in the first place? Expense account total $1,723. Lola and Everson were turned over to the authorities, and Everson gave up the key to a safe deposit box in New York where the embezzled money had been all the time. It also showed us the deserted spot on Long Island where he and Lola had hidden the body of the real Tom Chase. Remarks? Dear Pat, next time you call me for an assignment like this one, I hope you get a busy signal. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Now, here's our star to tell you about next week's story.
Next week, a body suddenly rises from the grave to take the spotlight from a Hollywood star. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Robert Reif. It is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Heard in our cast were Michael Ann Barrett, Jack Edwards, Ben Wright, Virginia Gregg, Don Diamond, Forrest Lewis, and Richard Crenna. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Be sure to join us on Monday night, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. Roy Rowan speaking.
From October 25th, 1956, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, here on Classic Radio Theater. Please visit the webpage over at classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream. There you can stream our Classic Radio Theater podcast, learn more about classic radio collecting, and contact me, classicradio.stream. And just a reminder that our programs are available anytime on demand, anywhere they serve podcasts. You can find them at iHeartRadio, the Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, also Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Just search USA Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox. Thank you for listening. Please thank this station, support the advertisers, tell a friend the great radio shows are back. Classic Radio Theater here on your favorite station and the USA Radio Network.
Nothing waits for a farmer. Not the weather, the banker, the crops. It's never at a farmer's convenience. So when it comes to crop protection savings programs, how come they get to ask you to wait for a rebate? Don't wait for rebates. Get the True Choice offer from Corteva Agriscience for instant upfront savings on crop protection products. Ask your local Pioneer sales representative or your crop protection retailer about the True Choice offer from Corteva. But don't wait. Nothing waits for a farmer. Not the weather, the banker, the crops. It's never at a farmer's convenience. So when it comes to crop protection savings programs, how come they get to ask you to wait for a rebate? Don't wait for rebates. Get the True Choice offer from Corteva Agriscience for instant upfront savings on crop protection products. Ask your local Pioneer sales representative or your crop protection retailer about the True Choice offer from Corteva. But don't wait.